Well, guys, I got everything that I wanted out of the exhibition game. When you talk about when you're playing against a very good team, and we knew coming in that they were going to possibly play 4 guards, and it was going to present us some problems as far as guarding and mismatch problems. But I think the best thing about it is, you play the first half, and you're struggling offensively. And I knew that could happen. Certainly, having the opportunity to play your first exhibition game in front of the crowd. The biggest thing I was proud of is that we were able to defend, and they even took the lead in the first half, and that's the great thing about it because you want to see how your team will respond. And I thought we finished the half, very strong, and then in the second half, I thought, some of our guys relaxed and settled in, and certainly we ended up with a 30-point win.
Did you have a sense coming in that your defense was sort of further ahead of the offense at this point?
Honestly, no, because I will tell you this: in our scrimmage, which I knew it was fool's goal, we shot 10 for 20 from the 3, and that bothered me a little bit because I knew that certainly because we made so many threes, we would come out taking shots, and it was exactly what I wanted as a coach because it made us settle in and do other things other than jacking up threes.
What does it do for you guys to play that well on defense and kind of have that experience of shutting down, no matter who it is, holding a team to 51 points?
Well, I've been telling these guys to build on last year. We were the best defensive team in the league last year with steals and deflections and everything else. And when we were struggling, one of the things I said is you're going to have games where you're not going to score the ball. But that's okay if you keep the other team from scoring. And I think we did it, today. We did a good job. And, that team is explosive because they can score for 4 different positions. And, for us to be able to sit down and guard those guys and hold them to 24%, I was very happy with our defense.
What was that first half like for you? I mean, you guys turned the ball over 15 times before halftime.
Well, it made me, Eric, and that's a great question. It made me go back to Minnesota of last year. And I was wondering what in the world happened to Craig Ponders. And if you remember that game, Craig Ponders and Addison Sprove had 11 together. And it's just one of those things that, I thought Craig and both Jordan pressed a little bit. Obviously it's a weird deal because you expect your freshmen to press a little bit. But I think those guys, because we put so much responsibility on those guys as being leaders, I think they pressed a little bit and they got a little careless with the basketball.
We saw you do some of that experimenting, a lot of different kind of combinations. Is there anything that jumped out to you sort of on its face as, I learned something about, a particular group here
Well,
today?
I tell you the 3 guys at halftime that I was most impressed with was Trey Grundy, Mark Matthews, and Chris Fleming. And the reason being is not because they were scoring the basketball, because they were doing so many different other things, and we was very impressed with those guys. But, we got a lineup where we can go small, we can go big, we can do a lot of different things. So I was happy just to see some matchups, and I really wanted those young guys to play a little bit more.
What, I guess, do you guys have to do between now and Friday to sort of get where you want to be?
Well, I can tell you now, we got to stop turning the ball over. For, a team like us who, are certainly a running team, you're going to expect some turnovers, but, certainly we shouldn't have 25. And, I'm happy with the fact that we forced 17. I'm happy with the fact that, we had 15 assists on 30 field goals, but turnovers, we got to do a better job. And then I also think we got to do a better job of making our free throws.
Was that, were turnovers, you talked about that scrimmage, were turnovers a problem there? I mean, is that something that,
Absolutely not. I have no idea who these people were today that was turning the ball over.
Yeah.
Kevin, now that you've seen a scrimmage and a game, how do you adjust to the whistles? What do you have to do in the next week to? It got a little better as the game went on, but the score got out of hand.
It's tough, and I've said this before. I don't think it's all on the players. I think it's certainly on the referees also, because each staff or each crew will call a game a different way. And until we all become very consistent with it, I think it's going to be tough. And I think you're going to see 2.5-hour games early in the season, because especially when they get to televisions and being on TV and people watching the games, it's tough. We got to do a better job of playing without fouling. But certainly, I'm telling you, it's tough on the crew. One of the referees who is a great referee, Keith. I told him a couple of times I felt like he was calling out of his area. He said, "Yeah, I did a couple of times because we got to make those calls."
Why didn't we see Denzel and CJ Geddes and I guess Devontae today?
Just coach's decision.
Was I guess will those guys be available on Friday?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody was available today. Just coach's decision.